Hi guys, welcome back. We're back with another video. If you're new here, don't forget to hit that subscribe button and turn on the notification bell icon to be the first to watch when we upload any new content. Also check out our website on mmkforexgroup.co.za. That's mmkforexgroup.co.za. Hi guys, welcome back. We're back with another video. If you're new here, don't forget to hit that subscribe button and turn on the notification bell icon to be the first to watch when we upload any new content. All right guys, so today I'm gonna be showing you the power of using the US dollar index, right? So you don't have to confuse yourself. Basically the US dollar index, the dollar index, it tracks the value, rather the relative value of the US dollar against a basket of important world currencies, right? So basically, if the index is rising, right, it means that the dollar is strengthening, against those other basket of world currencies, right? But you don't have to confuse yourself with all that. What's important is actually understanding and mastering how you can use this to your advantage, right? So as you all know, the US dollar index, right, or rather how we've been trading, before I talk about the US dollar index, right, if you've been following our videos, right, you will know that we trade the BTMM, right, and we follow the market maker cycle, right? And I've been saying this, that you can apply these concepts on anything that can be traded, right? So it's not only limited to currencies or indices or something like that, right? You can actually use this to trade anything, right? So the US dollar index, basically, to make it easy, an example, let's say we've got GBP USD, USD CHF, so UC, and an example can be maybe Euro USD, right? Euro USD. So basically, right, if we have, remember, we always keep the cycle in mind, right? So if we have a peak formation, let's say you have identified a peak formation on the dollar index, right? Before you look at all these pairs, right, when you have identified a peak formation on the dollar index, right, for those people who trade the BTMM or understand the market maker cycle, you would know that after a peak formation has been formed, right, the next day we expect the dealer to end the day into consolidation, right, and then we expect the dealer to then give us a safety trade, right, and then continue with the market maker cycle, right? So basically, when you have identified a peak formation, right, on the dollar index, right, what do you expect the next day? You expect a stop hunt just below, this range, this Asian range, right, and you expect a peak formation and a move to the upside, right? So what does this mean? When you have identified a peak, right, you can expect a rise the next day. That means you can expect the dollar to strengthen the next day, right, based on the market maker cycle, right? So if the dollar, right, has strengthened, or is strengthening rather, and you've analyzed, right, for a pair like GU, right, you would have to sell this, right? So when you sell GU, you're selling the pound and buying the dollar, right, based on this, right? And if you you're trading USD CHF, that means you are buying USD CHF, you are buying the dollar, selling CHF, right? If it's EU, that basically means you're selling the euro and buying the dollar, right, based on the market maker cycle. Now, it's not always going to be perfect all the time, right? Remember, we use this as a factor of confluence for us to actually make better trading decisions when trading USD pairs, right? So it goes vice versa. If you've got a peak formation the other direction, what do you expect the dealer to do the next day? We expect a consolidation, right, stop hunt, and then a continuation. So if you can identify such, that means you would expect to do the opposite now, right? Meaning, if you can see that we are going to be selling when you have analyzed, right, we would actually be buying the pounds and then selling the dollar, right? If it's UC, we are selling the dollar and then buying CHF. If it's EU, we are buying the euro and selling the dollar. So this is just something you can use to make better trading decisions. So looking at the dollar index, right, when you look at it from the monthly time frame, nothing much on the left, right? So that's fine. Then when you look at it from the weekly, not really something that you can look at, right? And you should always keep that in mind. So when you look at the daily, as you can see, we had some rejections, right? We had some rejections right there at that level, right? So if we go down to our shorter time frame, this is what we can actually now see, right? We had a peak reset. This is in the H4, right? After the peak reset, we had a nice move up into a consolidation, and another move, second level, and then the last move, right, which has some trend acceleration there. Fine, right? So we expected a peak formation, and there you go. You had the first leg, and then the second leg was actually initiated right there. Right. So this is how the bigger picture looked like. As you can see, the second leg was actually higher than the first one. Right? So the stops were definitely hit, and this is where your midweek reversal would have been initiated. Right. In this case, there. Right. This was the midweek reversal, and then the market continued to drop. So if we can look at it from the shorter time frame, right, it was clear from your H4. You understood the cycle, right? You expected a peak, right? So if you missed, maybe if you missed the peak, right, if you caught it, well done, right? If you missed this and you're analyzing your charts, right, and you can see that on the first day of drop, right, we had a lock of the peak formation. That's good. We had a 5200 crossover, and of course the next day we expect a safety trade, right? We expect a safety trade. So in this case, as you can see, right, this is how the market opened, and then we had a trap above the Asian range, right, giving us a nice M formation at that area, as you can see, a nice M formation, and then we continued dropping. So what does this mean? It means for pairs like Euro USD, you'd be looking for buy opportunities, right? Why? Because you can clearly see the cycle. So let us look at EU and see what actually happened last week. So if you look at it from the 4-hour time frame, we also actually had a peak down there, right? We had a peak formation, right? So if we look at it from the, so this happened, when did this happen? This happened on Thursday, right? This, right? We're focusing on this, as this would be a confirmed setup you could look for, right? This happened on a Thursday. Now look at what happened on this Thursday, right? Peak formation, right? We also had a lock, right? And we also had 5200 crossover. We expected a safety trade. There you go, right? A nice close above 13 EMA, and then you had a nice, you had a good trade, man. This moved for over 140 pips, right? And that's just by understanding your dollar index, right? So it won't be clear on every pair, guys. That's why I'll always remind you guys that I'm not saying use it as an indicator that is 100%. No, use it for confluence for those people who trade dollar pairs, right? So same thing we had on GU, right? As you can see, such moves are used to cause panic, to get people to jump into the market, and then they pull it away from you, right? So want to see what happened on Thursday. Look at that, right? This was very savage, right? They hit the stops both sides. They hit it above, all right, and then they also hit it down here, right? This is this is another trick the dealers use. Let me just show you something, because remember if we have a peak formation, right, if we have a peak formation, it means if we see a drop, right, the next day we want to expect consolidation, right, and then would want to see a stop hunt above the Asian range, peak formation, and then we continue going to the downside, right? But what the dealer can do sometimes, It will give us a peak formation, consolidation, right? Because remember, the whole idea here is this is accumulation, right? The Asian session market maker, his job is to accumulate contracts, right? When the London session guy comes, right, he has to evaluate where the money is, right? Remember, this is a market where over $7 trillion is traded daily, right? So there can be, you know, 10 million here or 500 million here, right? Whatever, right? Whatever it is, but they will go for the money, right? Remember, we can't see the money on our side, but we can see the footprint, right? We can see what the dealers are doing, right? So what he will do sometimes is he's going to consolidate, and instead of, you know, him going above and hitting the stops and continuing our direction, he might start here first, clear the board, right? Hit some stops, and then finally go above, hit these stops, and then continue dropping, right? So these are tricks, or rather trap moves the dealer can use, but usually that's where, you know, fundamentals are involved, right? So we had a peak formation here, awesome, right? The first day of rise, right? So these are things that you can use the dollar index to analyze, you know, at the end of the day, right? You can at the end of the day and just see what you could expect the next day on pairs like GU and Euro USD, right? So as you can see, the next day, a nice peak formation lock, 5200 crossover. Then look at what happened the next day. He just hit the stops, right? Hit the stops. Why? Because this box was already blown out. We expect this to be at least 50 pips, right? 50 pips. That's that Asian range, you see. But if it's blown out, the stop hunts will not be that crazy. Meaning, if this Asian range is more than 50 pips or maybe 100 pips is blown out, the stop hunt will not be heavy. The dealer can just hit it, open the spread, grab what he needs to grab, and off he goes. So as you can see, a nice trade there, small WE formation with a nice close above 13 EMA, and that continued moving to the upside, right? So yes, guys, you can use this. I like using it on Euro USD and Pound USD, but you know, you could always use this on other pairs too, right? But remember, it will not always be 100% every day. It's meant to help you, right, to make better trading decisions as you trade, right? So yeah, I like using it. That doesn't really work that much on these other ones. I mean, USD CAD, USD CHF doesn't really follow it, but I've seen it consistently working on EU and GU. So this is AUD USD. It was doing its own thing. Remember, sometimes they'll move the majors, right, and just handle the other crosses. The crosses will just be doing its own thing, and sometimes they move the crosses, and majors are just chilling there. Right, guys, so I hope you learned something from this, guys. I've been using this for years now. Very effective, right? But remember, it's all about understanding the market maker cycle. Hope you learned something from this video. If you're new here, don't forget to hit that subscribe button and turn on the notification bell icon to be the first to watch when we upload any new content. If you haven't joined our free Telegram channel, find the link in the description below. And this is where we share some signals, free signals here and there, more educational content, and you can also see how we execute our trades and actually manage these trades. Right, guys, hope you learned something. See you on the next video.